video for Chapter 4 of A Parent Survival Guide to Common Core Math. In this section, we're talking about place value, and we're beginning with really just the ability to break numbers into pieces. So that may seem a little bit of a far stretch from the idea of a ones place and a tens place and a hundreds place and so on and so forth. However, the idea of place value itself really begins with the understanding that a big number can be broken into smaller pieces. So very early on, we might, I'll get my little unit cubes here. I, as the teacher, have a mystery number here. So I might walk around the class and I could hand this out to students and say, all right, you've each been given a chunk of blocks, so maybe this is one student, this is another student. I want you to measure your stick against mine and make it the same size. So we pass it around. This student realizes they only need to break one off, and theirs is going to be the same. So let's pretend we're the student with the blue, and let's look down here. We have my quantity and we have the student's quantity. So the first thing I might do is say, all right, now that you have your own quantity, count and tell me how many cubes do we have today. So a student could do this in any number of ways. The easiest would be, well, I don't know if it's the easiest, but the most basic method would just be to count. So they might count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they now know this is the number 9. Same as my number 9. Now I may ask them, a whole class of students, say, I want you to come up with 3 different ways that you can take the number 9 and break it into 2 pieces. So you might have one student who says, oh, I'm going to be really clever and try to get as close to half as possible. So I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to show how this kind of stacks up against mine, right? It's the same size, but I've broken it into 2 pieces. And so they say, I made 9 from 5 and 4. And then the student next to them, or maybe in their second experiment, says, oh, well, I did it differently. I got 2 and 7. So 2 and 7, that also makes 9. Or then another student said, well, I just broke off 1 and I have 1 and 8. Or, you know, we could do this any number of ways. 3 and 6, we could do 6 and 3. And each student is going to come up with their own way of demonstrating. Let me just leave this here like this. Their own way of demonstrating the number 9. Now, as they get to understand symbolism like addition and equal signs, we can actually teach them to write this out symbolically. So they've now displayed that 9 can be represented as 5 and 4, but they might be able to write down, you'll see this on your screen. I want to point to something, but you can see it there. It's a tree diagram that shows that we're breaking up 9 into 4 and 5, and we wrote it kind of like a tree. The way that looks a lot like this is called a tape diagram, and so you'll see that model up there now on the screen. It shows 9 broken into 4 and 5. Or we can get even more symbolic. That's just really a picture. We can get more symbolic and we can write 5 plus 4 equals 9, or 4 plus 5 equals 9. So this is the very beginnings of how we introduce the concept of taking a quantity and breaking it into pieces.